Is there Shevitz out today, too?
Yes.
Clock's behind.
Still got a minute.
They're hot.
Are you guys getting an award yet? No.
Oh, boy.
Good evening. The Charter Township of Plymouth regular meeting of the Board of Trustees will come to order Tuesday, June 27th, 2023. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
Trustee Monahan is excused. Trustee Kermy.
Here.
Trustee Buckley.
Here.
Clerk Vorba here. Treasurer Dorchevitz is excused. Supervisor Heiser.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance tonight. How about Fire Chief Pat Conley?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Chief. I need a motion to, we're going right on to the Chief. Come on down here. We're having a badge pinning ceremony for firefighter Austin Tedrington. No relation to our former police chief, Tidrington.
Distant relation.
Just
Spelled
one vowel
differently,
off, I think. Huh?
Why don't we have the Tedrington family come up too? Firefighter Tedrington tonight is joined by his wife Claire, his parents Scott and Mary, and his children Cora and David. Okay, today we recognize the completion of Austin Tedrington's probation with this badge pinning ceremony. The fire service is full of tradition. It is important to honor our past traditions. These traditions tie us to 1.2 million U.S. firefighters from 27,000 departments across the country. To understand the importance of the badge pinning ceremony, it is important to understand that not only the history of the fire service, but the history and significance of the badge itself. The first firefighters with the Corps Divigiles, Latin, not my strong point, in Rome in 6 AD. This was 7,000 free men. They would patrol Rome looking for fires and would respond to prevent conflagration. During the Crusades, the Knights of St. John's took it upon themselves to rescue crusaders from fire that was used as a weapon. The Knights of St. John's ultimately settled in Malta, where they adopted a new cross, the Maltese Cross. The modern U.S. Fire Service dates back to 1736 when Benjamin Franklin founded the first volunteer fire department. These firefighters would patrol the streets and light the street lamps as they began their patrols to protect their communities. The firefighter's badge has significant symbolism. The Maltese Cross pays honor to the men and women who, on their own initiative, risk their lives to protect others. The scramble, what we call the tools of the trade. There's 5 important elements to this. First is the ladder, which is used to rescue trapped occupants. It reminds us of the moral responsibility to rescue those in need. The pike pole is used to bring down walls and open up buildings. It reminds us of our duty to stop the spread of fire, not just after the flames, but in our fire prevention efforts. The nozzle, which is the medium through which water is applied, reminds us of our obligation to act with urgency, responding to the needs of others. The bugle, or trumpet, once used by the officers to communicate with those under their charge, remind us that we act under the authority of officers trained in technical and leadership abilities. Finally, the staff at the ball mounted on the end. That was used by firefighters in the past to light street lamps as they began their tour protecting their communities. This signifies the vigilance that we have not only in protecting the public, but our fellow firefighters and ourselves as well. The firefighter's badge that will be placed on firefighter Tedrington's chest is a symbol of authority. It serves as a reminder that although you have achieved a higher level of authority by completing probation, you also have been given a higher level of responsibility. It is also a reminder to forever value the trust that the community and your fellow firefighters place in you, and the responsibility you have to guard their safety. So, Austin's dad, retired battalion chief, Scott Tedrington, is going to do the honors. Sorry, I didn't stab it. I figured I'd stab myself. It's hard enough on our own chest.
There we go. Okay, congratulations, Austin, and continued good luck here in the fire department. You're doing a great job for us already, and I see you out in the field a lot, and just keep up the good work. We're really proud of you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Okay, next I'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Supervisor.
Mr. Clerk.
I move for the approval of the agenda for Tuesday, June 27th, 2023.
Motion is made by Clerk Vorba. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, approval of the consent agenda. Chuck, you had some issues with the minutes.
Yes.
Can we try to change those on the fly right now?
I don't think we have the data to do that because on page 8, it says Trustee Kermy confirmed that Eaton Estates had no current existing issues. I didn't confirm that. I asked questions about it. So I don't know what the guy's name from the homeowners association is the one that confirmed it. And then the second sentence is the second dot point, or the third dot point, excuse me, has the same thing. I'm not involved in their water. I asked the question.
Right.
So somebody needs to go back and listen to the tape, see what the person's name is, or just say that a representative of I think he was a historical person that really wasn't an officer.
Right.
It was somebody who was here for Beacon Meadows Homeowners Association to give a little history on what they were doing or had done with repairing or attempting to repair their water control basins, retention basins. So
Okay.
you're gonna have to change that. I don't know who you can say confirmed, either that or you have to change the words.
Okay,
Because I asked
You were
those,
concerned in question.
yeah, I asked the questions and then
Okay.
he answered.
Okay.
And it
All
is
right.
good to put his answers in there in case it does show up as having a problem, next week or whatever.
okay. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus the minutes?
I have a comment about bills, but it's a general comment, but
Can we
Go
get
ahead.
them to close the door back there? Thank you. Yes, Chuck?
we have I want us to work on trying to control costs. I reviewed a couple of bills where the labor rates were $400 an hour, and that's an emergency rate, and the normal rate is $200. This is for someone that's not a skilled person either. It's not an electrician or a plumber. I know that we have emergencies, but we need to move away from the we'll pay anything attitude. You're going to either have to find different suppliers or negotiate. Another example is we paid $2,500 to landscape 200 square feet under a sign. Maybe we just need to forego it if the prices are that high because they can't find labor and they're willing to raise the prices to whatever somebody will charge. So I hope we can get into a sense of cost control and stewardship of money.
Okay. Any other questions?
They're getting paid more than you by more
Can
than
I
2.5
have a
times.
motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move for the approval of the consent
Motion's made
agenda.
by Clerk Vorba. Is there a second? Second. Second by Trustee Stewart. All those, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heisey?
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley?
Yes.
Trustee Stewart?
Yes.
Trustee Kermy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, perfect. Item E is public comment, limited to 3 minutes. I do keep track here on my phone. This is not your only opportunity during the evening. There'll be another opportunity at the end of the evening. All we ask is that you keep your comments to 3 minutes and direct them to the board. Yes, ma'am.
Want to look that way.
Good evening. My name is Janet Bernardino. I live at 7524 Salem Woods Drive, Northville. The location, however, physically is in Salem Township. I co-own 1,330 lineal feet of the Johnson Creek. I am not here to oppose Northville Downs. I'm here to make 3 recommendations to improve the site plan that I would like you to consider as an advocate of the creek. I'm also a founding member of the Johnson Creek Protection Group, but I'm not here to represent the crew. I'm here to represent the creek. The 3 items that I propose are to help keep the creek clean and cold. It is the last clean, cold stream feeding the Middle One Rouge River. I have previously met Township Trustee Stewart and Supervisor Heisey in my advocacy over the last 23 years. The 3 improvements I suggest are, while the state's buffer is 25 feet, I would recommend 50 feet along the portion that is by Ridge Road, and to plant on the east side native plantings that will clean pollutants from Ridge Road, and on the west side, native plantings that will help shade the creek. This previous stretch, the DNR has found 19 to 20-inch brown trout. So it's a very important portion of the creek. The second item that I propose is a permeable parking lot. Because of the water that this parcel currently holds, a permeable parking lot will do 2 things. It will help the runoff of storms, and it will help keep the temperature of the creek down. And the third thing I propose is a living roof over the grandstand, if that's possible, like the ones that are used by Ford downriver. Those are the things that I hope that you will consider seriously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you could, please come up here and take my business card, because I'd love to talk to you about this in more detail. Many of your recommendations are actively under consideration right now.
Great.
And there's other projects happening that I want you to know about.
I would like to add
Thank you.
that if the developer does these 3 things, I'd be more than happy to help them find other activities to utilize the site when horses aren't running.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to hand it over to John Stewart right now, because he'd like to introduce some special guests who are in the audience. John.
It was my opinion that the Plymouth Christian Academy baseball team did something that was very honorable, and it was recognized statewide. They had an incredible season. I was on pins and needles, following on my phone, getting text messages, and they went up against Beale City in the final championship game, but came up short by 1 run. It was my decision, and Supervisor Heisey completely supported me, to welcome them here tonight. I would like to ask the coach to get up and speak for 3 minutes. They are, hold on a minute, they are humble. They know that physical fitness, mental fitness, and emotional fitness go hand in hand. But gentlemen, I speak from experience. You have created a lifetime memory. I cannot throw away my 65-year-old father's catcher's glove. I can hear his voice ringing in my ear. Just throw strikes. Burn it in between the waist and the knees. Thank you for representing all of us. We are proud of you. Someday, you will turn around. Maybe it's your children, maybe it's... I have a daughter who was an academic athletic All-American softball pitcher at Western Michigan. She threw 64 miles an hour and had a 2-foot rise ball. I was there for most of the games. Gentlemen, you have created a lifetime memory. Thank your coach and thank your parents. With that, I want to turn it over to Coach Joe Botorff. Help me out, Botorff. Here is a list, and I just found out.
Coach, if
I'm
you
not
could-
gonna leave.
Yeah, Coach, if you could just introduce your teammates who are here today, and just, you guys are you seniors right now? 2 seniors.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, my name
4 of your ball players are all-state.
correct. Yeah, I'm Joe Bodorf. I've been the coach at Plymouth Christian for 16 years. I brought 3 players with me today. Seniors Nigel Mann and Aiden Rafferty, and sophomore Tyler Scott. Tyler was our starting pitcher in the championship game. I didn't prepare anything
That's okay.
for this. I didn't know I'd be speaking, so I don't think it'd be hard for me to come up with 3 minutes to talk about.
No,
this.
that's okay.
But I'll probably do less than that. So this was the first time we've made it this far in the history of the school. We set some other records this year. The most wins, we won 34 games. Most years we didn't even play 34 games. We played 42 games this year, and that's just because we had the team that could support that amount of baseball. It's kind of gradually grown over my 16 years there. Currently, I have 221 wins as the coach, and 85 of those have come in the last 3 years. So
Great.
we've been ramping up. My first couple years there, I think we may have played 15 games. And then just as the school grew and the team grew, we were able to play more games, and this kind of has built to this point in this season.
That's great.
And I think there's a lot of good things to come. We had 8 seniors on the team this year. So starting lineup is 5 seniors, 2 sophomores, one of which is Tyler, and 2 freshmen. So we have 4 starters coming back. We have a very strong JV team this year also, so there'll be some kids moving up. We only had one junior this year, so next year we only have 1 senior, so the team will be young. So probably the state, the Final Four hasn't seen the last of Plymouth Christian Academy.
That's great. That's good to hear.
Wonderful.
Anybody have college plans in baseball or anything
Our
like
catcher, Noah Edmeyer, is going to be on is playing football and baseball at Calvin College next year. And Tyler's brother Jordan is playing basketball at Calvin College
that?
next year.
Okay.
Wonderful.
But they're not the first baseball players from Plymouth Christian to go on. We did have a player drafted by the Colorado Rockies a few years ago, Daniel Jipping.
Okay. That's great. Well, if we could just have these fine young men stand up one more time and just turn around and face the audience. And Coach, once again, congratulations to you and your team, and we hope for many more successes in the future. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, anybody else now at this point? All right, we're going to move on then. So next we have the item F1 is new business, a public hearing to receive comments concerning the Brownfield Plan amendments for properties within the Michigan International Technology Center Redevelopment Authority. Clerk Vorva, we can make the motion to open the public hearing.
I move that we open the public hearing at
7:18.
7:18.
Okay, motion's made by Clerk Vorva. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Stewart. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
They're on tonight.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, so now we are having
open.
a public hearing to receive comments regarding the 3 Brownfield Plan amendments, which is the focus of item F2. So if you are a board member, you've got the backup materials for item F2. If there's anybody in the public, Mr. Harless, the MITC consultant, was supposed to be here tonight. I'm trying to locate him, and he is a no-show. So maybe he's lost in the smoke and haze out there. I know he
Then we
lives.
have are we going to put, the PDF is the only way that we got the copies of the backup.
Yeah, well, you have the PDFs, you receive the PDFs at home, and we have hard copies in the clerk's office.
I know, but if we need to refer to them tonight,
Then I don't know if
then
we
I should
have
have brought
the,
my laptop.
I don't know if we have the capability to
All
do
right.
that because
Right.
trustee Dorchevitz is responsible for the screen. So, any comments on the MITC Brownfield amendments? Okay, hearing none, I move to close the public hearing at 7:19.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Supervisor Heising.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, now we're on item F2. This is various resolutions needed for the MIT Brownfield redevelopment zone. It has come to the attention of the MITC Redevelopment Authority that Plymouth and Northville Townships have yet to formally approve brownfield plan amendments for 2 project sites that were approved by the MITC Authority in 2022. In order to be properly implemented, the law requires approval of these plan amendments by the 2 townships' boards, which are the governing bodies for the MITC. In addition, a new brownfield plan amendment for the new Northville Lumber Company site at Napier and 5 Mile was approved at the last MITC meeting in April and now needs to be considered by the Board of Trustees for governing body approval. That has already been approved by Northville Townships, Planning Commission, and Board of Trustees. I've also attached a memo from James Harless to provide additional detail and background information on these requests. Even though he is not here tonight, we do have extensive information from his memo, which was provided to you last Friday. On this memo, I've attached 3 sample motions. Each motion has to be approved individually with a roll call, Mr. Clerk. If there's any other questions, I'll do my best to answer them. Mr. Stewart? No?
Now, I have some questions.
Sure.
So apparently an error was made when we made the entire District 1 brownfield, and now it's being changed because of the
No.
MEDC. It says, however, non-statutory policies of the Michigan MEDC for approval for MITC's capture of incremental state school taxes for the public infrastructure improvements required the active brownfield plan to be associated with a single eligible property. Well, this required a shift to the MITC Parcel 13 brownfield plan as the primary plan to support MITC public infrastructure improvements, because MITC Parcel 13 was eligible by way of a previously approved brownfield. And it goes on, the removal of the MIT parcels 6 through 10 from the base plan facilitates inclusion. And then also indicates that the changes, something had been, that we didn't approve this was approved a year ago and we missed it. Is that?
So a couple things there. First of all, I want you to think about the MITC authority, the zone itself in Plymouth and Northville, as a hub and a spoke, okay? So the hub is what's known as Parcel 13. And Parcel 13 is the southeast corner of 5 Mile and Ridge. It's currently an undeveloped site. It's where the
towers.
used to be, the silos. It's where the silos used to be. That was the first of the approved brownfield plans for the MITC. You may recall there was a company called Veritas.
Yeah, and they
that
backed
was looking
out.
to settle there. Well, they're actually expanding, and they may end up going across the street into Northville. That was the first brownfield plan that we approved as part of the whole MITC. So again, if you look at this as a hub and a spoke, from that source site, Parcel 13, all of the other sites are then the offspring of the original site. That's Parcel 13. So that's why everything that comes forward after that is an amendment to Parcel 13. So that we're always amending the original host brownfield, kind of like a queen bee and the worker bees. So the queen bee is Parcel 13, and we're always building off of that. So what happened last year is that there were two other brownfield plan amendments that were approved by the MITC, and the documents were never officially transferred to us or Northville Township. So it was kind of a joint mistake by all of us that we should have approved those back last year, and everybody got lost in the shuffle, I guess, and nobody approved it. So Mr. Harless has been going through all of our files, and he noticed that these two amendments had not been fully approved by the two townships. So that's what we're doing tonight. So we're cleaning that up. We're cleaning up those two items. Northville approved those both last week. Then the third item is for a new brownfield amendment for MITC,
Northville
the
lumber.
Northville lumber site. So that again is an amendment to the original parcel 13, the springboard, the queen bee of the MITC. So again, the Northville lumber site has been approved by Northville Township as well as the brownfield plan. And in order for things to move forward and be clear with the state, because the state ultimately is the final authority on these taxing jurisdictions, we have to approve it tonight and send it off to the state.
So
So two of these are cleanup
Right,
and
okay.
one is new.
all right, so the brownfield is paying for a lot of infrastructure, roads, sewer,
Potentially.
not, in fact, the portion that is cleanup is smaller than the infrastructure portion.
Potentially. The brownfield is designed, brownfield law was enacted in the mid-1990s by Governor Engler. Resident of-
96,
resident of-
1996.
Resident of Beale City, I believe.
Yes.
And brownfield authorities have been in use continuously, and we have a brownfield authority of our own. We have other projects, brownfield projects throughout the township, like Phoenix Mill, Courthouse Grill site,
Plymouth Walk.
the Plymouth Walk site, and others.
Victory
So-
Honda,
Victory Honda was one of our old ones, but
It's done.
it's since been paid off and everything's ready to go there. So in this particular case, a brownfield authority can be used for a variety of what they call eligible activities. Some of those can be environmental cleanup. Some of that can be remediation of existing buildings to remove asbestos or to modernize an existing building. And you can also use it for infrastructure, such as roads, sidewalks, sewers, et cetera. So in this case, the brownfield authority, the MITC authority is written in such a way to be as broad as possible. So it's more than just environmental cleanup, it's also infrastructure. However, the situation is that the road, 5 Mile Road, is owned and operated by Wayne County, okay? So Wayne County is ultimately responsible for that road. We've been trying since the inception of the MITC in 2018 to get the necessary funds from Wayne County and/or the state of Michigan. I would just say stay tuned. I think we'll hear something. The state budget is being voted on tomorrow, and so we'll see if we've received any funds from the state. Any funds that we receive, whether from the county or the state, are going to go into the road, which frees up money for environmental cleanup, stormwater management, creek management, stormwater management.
expand on that. If it goes to there was a list of Northville lumber improvements. There was 400,000 in there for a water retention pond,
Right.
and more money was being spent on infrastructure for their project than for cleanup, by a big margin.
Yeah, because stormwater is infrastructure. It's required by state and federal law. We have a federal stormwater permit. We have county regulations and state regulations that we have to deal with.
What my point is, why do we have to pay for it out of taxpayer monies for the next 26 years? We're missing, we're not getting the advantage of that.
It's a tax capture.
Right.
It's a tax capture to incentivize them to require the necessary bonding that they need to get the funding to make the necessary infrastructure improvements, whether that's cleanup, stormwater, infrastructure, et cetera. So right now, the value of that land in Northville Township is zero. It's worthless.
Right.
It's old Tohoku prison property, just like everything else along 5 Mile. So once something is built there, the tax value increases, the property increases, the building increases. Therefore, they capture
The difference
they
between
capture
the
difference.
dirty and the clean.
Yeah, they capture the difference, but that tax revenue is then that taxable value is then reinvested into the site to make the necessary improvements.
Well, I'm advocating that they, other than the cleaning, that they handle their own financing. I don't know how a low-margin business like lumber can afford $22 million investment. Now I know how, because essentially, the taxpayers in that district, the school district are going to be paying for it over 26 years with the difference between the new value, which is up here, and the current value, which is very low.
I would be happy to have Mr. Harless explain how that works.
He's not here.
I know, I will have him contact you, because it's kind of an oversimplification of, in your analysis, but one of the other incentives is that we also want to go from zero to a taxable value that will bring benefit to the area, creates jobs. It also brings more economic development to the entire area.
But we can't be more select, well, Northfield lumber isn't much new jobs, and none of these jobs are technology jobs. Couldn't we spend the money on technology jobs?
Well, a lot has happened since COVID, and
I know,
the need for high.
We don't have to fill it up just
That
because.
need is no longer there, so.
How do you know in 5 years it won't be?
Well, those are also decisions that have been made independently by Northfield Township, so they've made.
Well, we have the
decision
same
to go in.
situation with a Meyer or a horse track.
I'm not allowed to talk about Myers, so.
We
Okay,
talked about it last week.
any other questions? Okay, do you have a motion on the first resolution?
Yes. I move to adopt resolution number 2023-06-27-46, authorizing approval of the Michigan International Technology Center Redevelopment Authority, MITC, base brownfield plan, amendment number 3.
Motion is made by trustee Stewart, is there a second?
Second.
Second by clerk Vorba.
What
Mr.
page is
Clerk,
this,
please
this
take the roll.
one on?
It's
35
page
of 59.
35 of 59, okay.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
No,
Motion carries.
Okay, next item, resolution. Anybody want to do that?
I move to adopt resolution number 2023-06-27-47, authorizing approval of the Michigan International Technology Center Redevelopment Authority, MITC, parcel 13, brownfield plan, amendment number 2.
Motion made by Mr. Stewart, seconded by clerk Vorba. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
no,
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item 3.
I move to adopt resolution number 2023-06-27-48, authorizing approval of the Michigan International Technology Center Redevelopment Authority, MITC, parcel 13, brownfield plan, amendment number 3.
Motion's made by trustee Stewart. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by clerk Vorba. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Clerk Vorba, yes. Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
no.
Motion carries.
Okay. Item F3 is memorandum of understanding between Plymouth Township and GrowthWorks. Chief Nightel. Chief Nightel got into a bad scrape with a
Bad guy.
bad guy, and he took him out, but sustained some injuries there. It was actually Laura Rainier from GrowthWorks, and she was the culprit, and she is here with us tonight representing GrowthWorks. And Chief and Laura, just take it away.
Thank you. Supervisor, this is an opportunity for the Plymouth Township Police Department, the Township of Plymouth, to partner with GrowthWorks. GrowthWorks has an outstanding reputation in Wayne County for working with juveniles. This is currently an option that we don't have when we're dealing with juveniles. Those that commit status offenses or lesser misdemeanor offenses, and have them be able to work with GrowthWorks in order to take responsibility for their actions and to move forward and not immediately push them into the criminal justice system. So we've been working, myself and Chief Cox, met with Laura before Christmas, built out a policy for the police department, and we're requesting that the Township Board accept this recommendation. Laura, would you like to mention?
Thank you, Chief. Thank you for the opportunity to come speak tonight.
My name is Laura Reiners. I'm the Community Relations Director at GrowthWorks, and I've been there just over 3 years now, but GrowthWorks has a long-standing history in this community, serving youth, serving families, specializing in substance use, but really all at-risk youth. And that's exactly what this partnership allows us to do. This allows us to serve youth early on, and it's exactly what it's called. It's a diversion program. When kids first start to exhibit some of those at-risk behaviors, we're able to get them into programming, working with our team, whether it be through substance use or other at-risk behaviors. This is at no cost to families, no cost to the township. So we really do believe that this is an asset. We're grateful for your support for many years in this community, and we hope that we can continue to do so.
Okay. And
This isn't the first time that we've paired up with them over the years.
No.
And how many juveniles do you think will be diverted? How many would have happened in the last year, and how many do you anticipate going forward? Is it 5 or is it 50? Some order of magnitude.
Sure. My guess, and based on what we've talked about with the chief, I would imagine somewhere around 10 to 15. And the nice thing about this program is because we do have the scope and we cover all of the Conference of Western Wayne communities, we don't just have to be able to tailor our services just to this community. We're able to offer a much broader program, a larger number of services. So I would imagine around 10 to 15, but I would love the opportunity to be able to come back in the next year and be able to show you specifically some of the cases at a high level, who we're able to impact, and potentially how we can continue to grow the program.
Definitely, we need to have follow-up on actions so that we know that if we did something right or wrong, and make some
Absolutely.
adjustments.
I'll make a point to that.
Stewardship.
Absolutely. What we've seen with a number of the communities is actually that initial estimate ends up being a bit smaller than we end up seeing in the program, because once the officers know, and once parents and teachers and other advocates in the community know about the program, then we have the ability to decide who's eligible. There are certain offenses, but luckily we can take more youth into the program. And we would much rather see them serviced by this program than having them end up in the formal juvenile justice system and continue down that track for their lives.
So how do you get compensated for taking these cases? Is it from Wayne County government, the state of Michigan, you have a grant? Where's the
So
money
the-
coming from to take care of these kids?
So the two primary funding sources are the Child Care Fund and 1/10 mill funding. So those are funds that are specifically set aside for juvenile cases. I know.
1/10 mil in Wayne County?
Yes. And it's the specific bucket that's determined for the juvenile justice services that we're able to provide. It's not deterring money from another source or being able to take money that would otherwise serve the community.
So government money is doing this?
Yes.
All right.
And the only other thing I'd add is the timing, we feel is right with Joe Smitherman being our new school resource officer. He will be directly responsible for the cases that come in. Sergeant Mark Hoffman, Chuck, as you'd mentioned, will be keeping track of all the cases that go through, and at the end of the year, Laura and I have already discussed that we would, be able to show exactly what we were able to do throughout the year.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
But one quick maybe comment. I have had a chance to work with Laura in the last 3 years, and she has statewide respect. The chief and I had a discussion about the thefts from the drugstore just the other side of 275 in Livonia of $150,000 worth of opioids. They broke into the drugstore. They didn't steal cigarettes. They didn't steal booze. They didn't steal whatever, cash from the cash register. They sold opioids, which will be immediately sold on the black market. Then I'm told that opioids overdose accounted for more deaths in 1 year, this past year, than all the casualties in Vietnam, 58,000. Small G, you're in a growth industry. Will you keep us apprised? And I'm very sincere about that. Will you come to the board every once in a while? This chief is, to use a positive professional word, he's enlightened. But Laura, I have, the highest respect for the highest degree of your intelligence and sensitivity. So come back again.
We would be happy to do so, and we look forward to growing the program for the community.
Okay.
Well, I hope it doesn't grow too much, because that means we have a lot of bad children.
I hope it doesn't grow in that way. Let's be clear.
All right, I move to approve Resolution 2023-06-27-49, a memorandum of understanding between the Charter Township of Plymouth and GrowthWorks, Inc., and authorize the Township Supervisor to sign same. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Trustee Buckley. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Supervisor Heising.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item F4 is a letter of agreement between the Police Officers Association of Michigan regarding enhanced lateral transfer language. The board met in closed session last week with our Labor Council at our last meeting to discuss the need for this. Basically, our current contract has very weak language regarding lateral transfers. A lateral transfer is when a police officer from another community transfers over to ours. And we do not offer much of an incentive in the police department for individuals who are looking to move over here. And right now, given the current state of affairs in our country, it's very difficult for all of us to attract and retain good, qualified police officers. And so as a result, we have officers who wish to leave the community that they are in for a variety of reasons, or they're just looking for more action or maybe less action. And but at any rate, we have to offer them a competitive wage and benefits that will allow them to make that transition. And so our current contract really does not allow that. And this agreement has been approved and signed by the union. The board has been fully briefed on the need. And all I would ask is that in the proposed motion, at the end of the motion language, I would like to add effective June 26, 2023, because that's yesterday, and yesterday was the beginning of a new pay period. If we don't do this, it's going to be an administrative nightmare trying to issue back checks and separate checks and.
Is that legal to retro it like that? It's okay?
We're the legislature. We can do whatever we want. We can turn back time. So it's already been signed by the union, and we want to make it effective yesterday so that we can effectuate a proper payroll processing.
Okay, one thing is, for some reason, the agreement is not attached, but for the fire it is, so you need to have the agreement attached when you.
I've got police and I've got fire.
No, the actual words and the wages and all that.
Well, this is.
Okay, the fire has a chart.
Yeah, and the police
This is what the fire looks like. Why don't we have it for the police?
I've got both agreements. We never included that pay. I don't think a pay scale document like that even exists in the patrol contract.
So this letter of, what I'm talking about is a letter of agreement, is a memorandum, and this one is a letter of agreement? What is it?
No, they are both
It just is different
letters.
between police and fire.
Yeah, absolutely.
The words they use.
That's why we're doing two separate actions.
All right.
Okay, I need a motion.
I move.
To approve the attached letter of agreement between the Charter Township of Plymouth and the Police Officers Association of Michigan regarding lateral transfers effective June 26, 2023.
Okay, motion is made by trustee Stewart. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Kermy. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Clerk Borba, yes. Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Item F5 is the virtually identical agreement with the firefighters union. Firefighters union currently has no lateral transfer language, and as a result, we have an even more difficult time attracting firefighters from other communities. So again, this has been fully explained to the board in closed session, and I think I've talked about it enough here tonight. Again, I would just ask that this be effective June 26, 2023. Mr. Stewart?
I move to approve the attached letter of agreement between the Charter Township of Plymouth and Charter Township of Plymouth Professional Firefighters Association, IAFF Local 1496, regarding lateral transfers effective June 26, 2023.
Second.
Okay, motion's made by trustee Stewart, seconded by trustee Kermy. Mr. Clerk, please take the roll.
Trustee Buckley.
Yes.
Supervisor Heisey.
Yes.
Trustee Stewart.
Yes.
Trustee Kermy.
Yes.
Clerk Borba, yes. Motion carries.
Okay, very good. Public comment, once again, limited to 3 minutes. Going once, going twice. Board comments, trustee Buckley. All right, what, you're up? Who wants to go here?
Wants to go?
Well, no, yeah.
Is he just
You
moving-
you
are we
guys,
moving
no,
around?
you guys are standing up?
Who's up?
Somebody get up.
Don't be shy.
You missed the opportunity there for a second.
All right. My name's Dale Bernhardt. Let me understand MITC. Does it have any authority? Does it have any teeth?
I'm not sure, Mr. Attorney, do I have to answer these questions? I mean, we could give a seminar on MITC that would probably go on for 2 hours, so.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to answer that tonight. I'm going to need a specific question, and I can provide a response in writing.
Okay, let me ask you something specific then. If zone industrial says that you can build a whole bunch of different types of businesses, and MITC is very specific in that they want to do life sciences, engineering innovations, more scientific, more high-tech, okay? Who wins? If somebody wants to come in an MITC zone and put in something that's in industrial that is not in MITC, who wins?
That would depend on the wording of the MITC agreement.
That makes no sense to me.
Okay,
What do you mean?
I mean, so what's your end game? I mean, where do we?
MITC has 800 acres of this
Yeah.
property, right? And it's zoned industrial. And it seems
Zoned
like
light industrial.
a lot, it is. It's, most of it's zoned industrial, especially down as you get by
Light industrial.
Napier, okay, and parcel 11 and 12, zoned industrial. It's also MITC.
Okay,
MITC is saying that it wants high tech. And basically, industrial does too, along with some other things. So why are we even contemplating putting in something that meets neither one of those?
okay, I'm not sure what you're referring to, so I don't,
Okay,
I
you
can't
know
read your
what
mind.
parcel 11 and 12 is?
I don't know what parcel 11 and 12 is right off the top of my
That's
head.
the
I don't
horse
have-
track.
I don't
It's the
have the
horse
map
track.
in front of me.
It's the
the
horse
horse
track.
track.
Okay, so what's your question?
My question is, should that fall under MITC?
It's a planned unit development, and it's been approved twice unanimously by the Planning Commission after at least two public hearings.
So you're not going to answer that question?
I'm answering your question, you just don't like it, so.
No, you're not answering my
Okay,
question.
all right.
Because there's no teeth.
Are
Let me
we
ask
done?
another question.
Are we done?
Parcel 11 and 12 is contaminated, all right? Has it been cleaned up?
What's parcel 11 and 12?
Horse track.
There's been contamination on site that's been cleaned up, yeah.
There's types of contamination that I doubt very much that you have cleaned up. First, it's soil contamination and it's water contamination.
Ridge 5 already
So
cleaned-
how has that
The
been
previous
cleaned up?
developer already cleaned it up, so.
Who has?
The previous developer already cleaned it up.
Hillside.
How do you clean up groundwater?
Sir, you're out of time, number one, so.
You sure don't want to answer any of the questions
Okay.
about that, do you?
Have a nice day.
You too.
Okay, next.
So I'm a little late to the game and I'm kicking myself, to be honest with you. I've lived in
What's your name?
Your name?
Chuck Hamilton. I've been a resident here for 44.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your name. Chuck Hamilton. Okay.
And I've been a resident for 44 plus years. So I've seen a lot of changes. Changes are not always bad, and they're expected as a place grows. However, what I've seen take place as a result of this atmosphere that I'm seeing and shocked by is appalling. It's against everything that this town has ever stood for. You aren't listening to the residents. We've made it clear we don't want the horse race casino. And that legislation is up right now. It is on the table. Doesn't matter, it's a door that's going to be opened to a casino. This isn't what our town, our historic town of Northville and Plymouth have existed for a long time before this kind of destruction. What has happened at Ann Arbor Road in Haggerty has created a nightmare for us who live off of Ann Arbor Trail in subdivisions. While I was at the meeting last week, one of the speeding cars, or speeding trucks actually, going by, lost a wheel and a tire and almost wiped out my neighbor and his 9-month-old and 3.5-year-old. It's almost unlivable now to have semis waking you up in the morning shaking, and the catchphrase is, oh, send the police department. It's the police department. You can't have them do all the things and fix all the things. You need to fix it. There are plenty of things not involving. The police department is going to have a role in it. However, you've got to fix this. And what's going to happen now that Amazon is not going to put in Amazon Fresh?
That's not true.
Well, they're trying to keep it out of the news, but there's no work being done there. Do you know what happens to empty buildings over time? They deteriorate and they bring down the community. You've gotten rid of all of our greenery and our open area. And you know what happens to that over time? It gets more beautiful. Now, when people enter Plymouth, the first thing they see is that Ann Arbor-Haggerty corridor. What a welcoming. It used to be so relaxing to pull off the freeway and come into town.
Okay, thank you.
So I don't know who's in favor or who's against, but you're all on notice. We're all watching now. Some of us are late to the game, but you can't run this town into the ground.
Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Hoag.
My name is Ron Hoag. I live at 12393 Glenview Drive, Plymouth Township. Been a resident here for 40 years. MITC, the most recent amendment, dated April 26, 2023, 62 or 3 days ago. Brownfield conditions. Redevelopment of the property is hindered by the presence of known environmental contamination on MITC parcels 6, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, and 15. MITC parcel 11, contamination. Arsenic, cadmium, copper, mercury, selenium, and zinc are present in soil at levels above residential cleanup criteria on this parcel. Groundwater is contaminated with cadmium at concentrations greater than its residential use criteria. Now, you mentioned that the previous owner of the site remediated the property. There's no report in here 62 or 3 days ago about that. This still says it's contaminated. And if they did do it, did the state or the MITC pay them to do it? They had no tax pullback because they didn't build anything. Now, number two, did you check the concentration levels of these heavy metals with the areas that were not developed? So let me read something from the EPA about cadmium. This is an EPA study in 2020. Cadmium is one of the most mobile heavy metals in the environment. The elevated mobilization potential is the reason for cadmium release from soil into groundwater. Now, one of the things you talked about, at one point we were told this site was clean, it never had any contamination at all. So now you also talk about the natural areas here. So if you have mobile cadmium in the soil and other heavy metals, it may also have some mobility. What about the natural areas? What about the woman that spoke tonight about Johnson Creek? She may think it's clear and pristine, it could have cadmium in the bed of the stream. So has any remediation work been done or any assessment been done on those areas adjacent to the property that are slated for public use? So if you have a walking trail with contaminated ground, I'm wondering if you thought about that.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Mary Ann Adams. I'm also late to the game here. Lived in the community 25 years in Ridgewood Hills. This is my side of town, but it does impact all of our community. I've lived a relatively quiet existence, nice neighborhoods, community atmosphere. However, over the past few years, I have to plan my travels around all the congestion going on. I am being landlocked in my subdivision because of what's going on. So there's a new charter school that was built on North Territorial. There's another new charter school that's going just south of Northridge Church. And they're gonna be building a football field, a baseball field, that's all in the plans. That's a 2-lane road. Does Ivywood know that we're gonna be building a racetrack, a gambling facility a mile from this Christian charter school? And then further, you encourage Meyer to build one of their superstores on 5 Mile, just west of Home Depot. And in addition, we have 2, I think 100,000 square foot plus warehouses going in on Ridge Road as well, across from the racetrack. And today I'm hearing about Northville Lumber going on 5 Mile. In the Planning Commission meeting, Treasurer Dorshevitz said that we're discounting or denying a motion for Meyer because traffic is a nightmare now. So all the facilities that you're bringing in are going to be bringing in more trucks and more traffic to an area that can't absorb it today. So I am just learning about MITC. I know it was created in 2018, like you said, between Northville and Plymouth Townships to clean up the contaminated land. Good idea. But here's the thing. We also heard that the township is in a very healthy position financially. So why are we doing this? If there's no tax benefit to the community and our financials are in really good position right now, what are we getting out of all this development? I know what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get a headache, and garbage trucks are already going down Powell. They're already going down Ridge Road. And so it's just going to continue that they're gonna take these other arteries to get to these facilities because the road infrastructure is not there. And I know you wanna say build it and they will come, but we also heard that the money isn't coming yet. And so it's just gonna be a big challenge for all of us living out that way. And as we heard, it's already a challenge out this way. So anyways, I do think you need to have a meeting, a public meeting, to talk to all the community residents about MITC and what the goals are.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? All right, thank you very much. Board comments. Trustee Buckley, I understand you and your squad are the cover feature in the Plymouth Neighborhood Magazine thing.
Yeah, which I've yet to see a copy of, so I have
Yeah.
to.
What's the name of the magazine?
Plymouth Community Neighborhood, something that's kind of a advertising circular with stories in it, so.
Yeah, it was a really nice photo shoot. My family and I were out at McClumpha Park, Plymouth Township Park, during those huge thunderstorms, but it was a lot of fun. We got it done. Both my husband and I had flags and stuff, waving them, so.
Very
It was
good.
a good time. We were good sports.
Anything
I
else
have no
going
other
on?
comments.
Anything else going on? Veterans Commission, I know we're getting more and more inquiries,
Yeah, a
so.
few more. I'm about to put out some feelers into the community a little bit deeper and see if we can get a few more
Okay,
to
good.
add.
How many non-veterans have applied?
None.
None.
None that I know of. All set? Okay, Trustee Stewart.
Want to wish everyone a happy 4th of July celebration. In 48 hours, what Plymouth is known for all across the state, according to the mayor of Holland, there will be the 62nd consecutive annual Plymouth Community Band Concert in Kellogg Park. I'll promise you there's going to be 500 people there. 5 flags from each of the branches of the armed services. And then veterans are invited to walk up and stand behind that flag. For the first time this year, the conductor of 41 years, Carl Battishill, has agreed to have a first responder hold the American flag in the middle. And I've encouraged a lot of my veteran friends, and I know we're going to have a meaningful, patriotic concert in Kellogg Park. And when I referenced the mayor of Holland, whom I hosted here a few weeks ago, and he's a friend of mine, the lawyer in his late 50s in general practice, and they have a city manager running the city of Holland. He said, we have our Lake Michigan, but she says, you guys have music. You have Kellogg Park, which is tiny, but you fill it up with people. And I hope we will support our veterans and support our Plymouth Community Band this Thursday night, June 29th.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kermy?
You have no information yet on 4th of July parade?
No, the Kiwanis are in charge of it.
Yeah, I know,
so-
that's my club, so
You need to-
I'll rouse that up.
You need to
Yeah.
wake them up. So anyway, just to add to longer answer to your question, you know, we do plan on marching again this year with our city colleagues. Typically, we formate behind that car wash and between the car wash and the cultural center there along the railroad tracks. I don't know, fire, have you guys been notified yet by anybody? So we try to hang out close to them and we'll see what happens, but we hope to get some direction.
Nothing like the 11th hour.
We'll just show up and hopefully wing it, you know, but it's gonna be interesting.
When we bring the new water rate calculations, we should be also discussing the Watua charge, which is $15.69.
Sure.
We've paid off the debt, so that must go down. So we need to, because that's specifically earmarked for certain bonds that are paid off. So that really should be removed, but we need to analyze it.
Yeah, I don't know the quick answer to that one. I would definitely email Bob in the morning and put that on his radar, and then I can also,
What
follow
date
up.
are you thinking of doing this?
No,
What
no.
month? At least
No.
probably August?
no, hold on,
We've got it written down somewhere.
I have it written down somewhere, hold on. Water budget, I'm looking at July 25th. Water budget water rates, July 25th. Water budget, October 10th.
That's right.
Okay, but we're collecting, the bonds are paid off December 31, and by that time, we will have collected almost another year of charges.
Again, I want to make sure that we still don't need that revenue for some other bond-related
We still couldn't,
purpose.
we'd have to
Yeah.
reconstitute it because
Yeah.
that's earmarked for specific bonds.
Yeah.
For the Watua, that was the expansion mostly of the Ypsilanti sewage treatment plant.
For us, yeah.
Yeah, but there may be, I just want to make sure that there's no other sewer-related costs that still might be hanging out there. I'd rather just.
That's why I said we need to
double-check.
analyze it.
Yeah, and
That number is going to shrink, it's got to.
And I'm fine with that. So let's shoot me an email tomorrow along with Bob, and we'll get on that. Okay.
All right, when is the horse track coming?
I don't know. We are still discussing things with them regarding the planned unit development and the community benefit agreement. And right now, July 11th is our next meeting. I can't make any guarantees, though.
So it's still tentative for the 11th,
I would say so, yeah.
but it's not going to be a special meeting between now and the 11th?
Probably not, just with vacation schedules and.
I hope
and all
not.
that. Yeah,
That's 4th of July holiday.
yeah, I know. I wouldn't do it. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay. Jerry Vorva.
Hey, everything's fine in the clerk's department.
Everything's always sunny in the clerk's department. Okay. Let's see, next meeting right now will be July 11th. We have a right-of-way agreement. We have Courthouse Grill. It's also a brownfield authority. And we are going to have a resolution. We have to approve a resolution to, hey guys, break it up. We have to approve a resolution to accept the funding from the state of Michigan. The developers were able to secure $2 million from the state to help clean up the site. And we are the pass-through for that money. So we accept the money and then we dole it out to them on an as-needed basis.
That's a loan to them?
No, not from us.
It's not our money, it's state money that comes to us. We are the custodian of it, and then we dole it out on an as-needed basis back to the developer.
So it's not a loan, it's a grant,
It's a grant, yeah.
and it's not part of brownfield.
Well, it's connected to the brownfield. I don't know exactly, I can't tell you right now how much brownfield capture they're going to use on this project, but there is definitely remediation that has to happen there.
Hopefully somebody will have a flow chart of how the money's.
That does exist, so we can get that for you. And then we have Picnic Basket is looking for a liquor license to do sales, not sales, but tasting.
Tasting of.
Maybe.
Spirits or wine?
All of it.
All of the above. Kevin, you,
I think they want a Class C.
We're a Class C.
Oh, that's a big deal, Class C.
so, anyway.
So they could have a bar in there?
They get a Class C license, they can serve.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, just hold on, I don't want to have a bar.
They're
there.
applying.
Next thing you know, there'll be a casino in there.
But Class C is a bar, usually.
It's for on-premises consumption.
Okay, so let's, again, it's a work in progress, we've just been notified about this, so I can't guarantee that that's gonna happen. Okey dokey, okay. All right, let's see, I'm just looking through my notes here. Okay.
Your neighborhood and you want to hang out there.
Me, no,
No, Chief Nightel.
Oh, the chiefy,
Right, you can
okay,
walk
all
there, so
right.
you don't have to worry about DUI.
All right, okay, that's all I have. Happy 4th of July. Look for us in the parade.
Thank you very much.
And
All
enjoy
citizens.
enjoy the extra long weekend. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, please.
Support.
Moved by Stewart, supported by Vorb. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Adjourn.